You probably know about the usual suspects, we all do. When we hear data theft, hackers, malware, and phishing emails come to mind. But who would have thought that one day temperature changes would join the list? It feels like a betrayal from nature. For decades, we've imagined the master thief as someone who listens to the clicks of a safe's tumblers. But the modern master thief doesn't need to listen for sound. They're watching for heat. They can stand across the room or even outside a building and see the ghost of your password being written in the air. Imagine a hacker doesn't need to steal your password, doesn't need to break into your Wi-Fi, and doesn't even need to look at your screen. All they need is the temperature in the room. That hurts the heart. Welcome to Tileris channel, where we keep you abreast of cyber threats and also give you the steps to protect yourself. Don't leave till the last second, and make sure you subscribe to always get notification of our latest videos. So, how is this even possible? Welcome to the dark and elegant world of side-channel attacks. A traditional hacking attack is like a burglar kicking down the front door. It's a direct assault on the software's intended defenses. A side-channel attack, on the other hand, is like a spy analyzing the vibrations in a window pane to figure out what's being said inside the room. It's an indirect attack that targets the physical effects of the computation itself. These attacks focus on the quiet, unintentional whispers a device gives off while it's working. A side channel is any trace of information that slips out during operation, something never meant to be part of the output. Think of it as the physical byproduct of computation. Every time your device's processor performs a task, it draws electrical current. When it does so, it generates heat. This isn't just a generic uniform warmth. The heat is a direct reflection of the specific operations happening on the microscopic level. A simple operation, like adding two small numbers, might cause a tiny brief spike in temperature. A more complex one, like a multiplication or a floating point calculation, will draw more power and thus create a slightly larger, more prolonged thermal signature. These are the building blocks, the individual letters of this thermal alphabet. For example, a single logic gate flipping from a 0 to a 1 requires a minute amount of power, generating a tiny thermal signature. A complex cryptographic operation, with thousands of these gates flipping and flopping in a specific sequence, creates a unique and measurable thermal fingerprint. With a high-resolution thermal camera, a skilled attacker can watch these patterns. And these cameras are no longer just the stuff of science fiction or high-end labs. While research-grade equipment is still expensive, the technology has become more sensitive, more compact, and more accessible over the last decade. This lowers the barrier to entry, making thermal attacks a more plausible threat outside of a purely academic setting. They can observe the heat radiating from your laptop's CPU, and because they know what a specific cryptographic algorithm looks like when it's running, they can essentially read the heat map like a secret language. The differences are minute, fractions of a degree Celsius, but with modern thermal sensors and sophisticated data analysis, those differences are more than enough to reveal the secrets being processed. It's like listening to the hum of a complex machine to figure out exactly what it's building inside, without ever opening the hood. This isn't just about some distant theoretical lab experiment. This has been proven time and time again in a variety of contexts. Researchers have demonstrated this by placing a thermal camera near a laptop's processor and successfully extracting secret keys used in common encryption standards like RSA and AES. The process is meticulous. An attacker would first establish a baseline temperature of the CPU at rest. Then, they would run known data through the encryption algorithm to create a thermal library, mapping specific heat patterns to specific operations. After this training phase, they can monitor the device as it processes the real secret key, comparing the new heat map to their library to deduce the key, bit by bit. They weren't hacking the software, they were reading the heat. But the danger goes far beyond your laptop. Consider your everyday smart devices. Your car's smart key, for instance. It communicates with your car to unlock the doors, a process that relies on a cryptographic handshake. The power draw and subsequent thermal pattern from that handshake could be monitored from a distance, potentially allowing an attacker to clone your key and steal your car. And what about the supercomputer in your pocket, your smartphone? Think about typing your 4-digit to unlock it. The act of pressing each number on the touch screen causes the underlying processing components to work, generating a tiny burst of heat. A sensitive thermal camera could potentially see the residual heat signature of your finger taps on the screen, or even analyze the CPU's thermal output as it processes each digit, allowing an attacker to reconstruct your PIN after you've put your phone away. Think about the ubiquitous chip card readers. The simple act of processing your credit card could generate a thermal signature that a nearby malicious device could capture and analyze. The sequence of operations as your PIN is entered might have a distinct thermal footprint, allowing a thief to steal your PIN without ever seeing the keypad. The risk also extends to critical infrastructure, including medical devices. An insulin pump, for example, communicates wirelessly and uses cryptography to ensure commands are authentic. A pacemaker can be programmed remotely, a process protected by a secret key. An attacker could, in theory, use thermal analysis to extract these keys, potentially leading to a life-threatening situation where they could control the device's function. In this context, a side channel isn't just a privacy risk, it's a direct threat to human life. And what about your smart home? Your smart thermostat, smart speakers, or even your internet-connected security cameras are all constantly running and generating heat. The thermal patterns could reveal your daily routine. When you wake up, when you leave for work, when you come home. The fridge turning on at 3 a.m. could tell a hacker you're home and getting a snack, while a drop in temperature as the air conditioning kicks in could signal that you've just come back from a trip. The more connected our lives become, the more side channels we create. The implications of this are staggering. This isn't just about a single user's password. This vulnerability has the potential to impact entire industries and even national security. Imagine a scenario of corporate espionage. A rival company could set up thermal sensors outside an R&D lab, silently monitoring the computers of engineers and designers. They could potentially read the heat patterns generated as new designs are processed, effectively stealing trade secrets without a single network breach. The next billion-dollar idea could be leaked, not through a mole or a virus, but through a heat map. Now, let's take that to the financial sector. Think about an ATM. A criminal could install a sophisticated skimming device that includes not just a card reader, but a sensitive thermal camera aimed at the keypad. After you leave, the device analyzes the lingering heat signatures on the buttons to determine the sequence. This is far stealthier than a traditional camera or keypad overlay, making it incredibly difficult for both users and banks to detect. On a geopolitical level, the threat is even more severe. Foreign intelligence agencies could use thermal side channel attacks to spy on embassies, military installations, or government offices. They could monitor the thermal signatures of classified servers or secure communication devices, collecting data that would be impossible to intercept through traditional digital means. It transforms the nature of espionage from a purely digital battlefield to one that is also physical, forcing us to secure our devices not just from the inside out, but also from the outside in. So, if the very physics of our devices is working against us, what can we do? While this sounds like a terrifying and unsolvable problem, the good news is that the security community is already working on solutions. First, the most obvious defense is physical mitigation. Since overheating makes these attacks easier, using cooling pads for laptops, ensuring good ventilation, and avoiding leaving devices in direct sunlight can help. But this is just a starting point. Chip designers are now implementing countermeasures at the hardware level. These include techniques like randomized power consumption, where the power draw is deliberately varied to mask the true thermal signature. This is a clever trick where the processor is instructed to perform random, useless dummy operations alongside the real ones. These dummy tasks draw power and generate heat, creating a constant thermal noise. For an attacker, it's like trying to listen to a secret conversation happening in the middle of a loud, crowded party. The real signal gets lost in the background noise, making it incredibly difficult to isolate. Others are thermal cloaking, where special materials are used to dissipate heat in a uniform, non-revealing way. Second, software and firmware updates are more crucial than ever. At the software level, developers can use a technique called constant-time programming. This means they write their cryptographic code in such a way that every operation takes the exact same amount of time and uses the same computational resources, no matter what the input data is. If encrypting a 0 looks thermally identical to encrypting a 1, the side channel becomes useless. It effectively blinds the thermal camera by making every operation look the same. They often contain critical security patches that can introduce these hardware-level countermeasures, making it far more difficult for an attacker to read the thermal signature. Third, physical security matters. For anyone handling highly sensitive data, this means thinking beyond digital firewalls. It might involve using protective cases that can dissipate heat evenly, or even employing physical shielding to block thermal emissions. In a public setting, simply being mindful of your environment and avoiding using sensitive applications near windows or in crowded spaces can be a simple, albeit general, security practice. Think about that co-working space or cafe. A person sitting a few tables away might not be able to see your screen, but a sensor in their bag could potentially be aimed at your laptop. While this is an advanced attack, developing good security hygiene, like positioning yourself with your back to a wall, is never a bad idea. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? That the very convenience of our technology can come with such an invisible risk. But by understanding these threats, we can be more proactive in protecting ourselves. The battle for data privacy isn't just about firewalls and antivirus software. It's about the physical world our devices live in. Our devices are not silent, static boxes. They are living, breathing data centers, and they are constantly whispering secrets into the environment. At Tileris, we believe that the best defense is one that is always on, always learning, and always ahead of the threat. Our AI agents are designed to protect your organization from a new generation of attacks, including these insidious side-channel vulnerabilities, by providing real-time defense that goes beyond traditional rule-based systems. If you're ready to transform your cybersecurity operations with intelligent automation, we're ready to help. Reach out to our experts for a personalized consultation or request a demo of our AI agents in action. Visit us to learn how we can help you build a security posture that is truly resilient. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more digital security insights, and let me know in the comments. What's the most surprising security threat you've ever heard about? Till next time, always stay protected.